Praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first in all we do and say. If you want to donate to this channel, I think the link is in the info. Canelo versus Crawford is a very interesting fight. I was listening to Keith Thurman's breakdown Canelo versus Crawford and Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype. And, you know, some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't make sense. Let me explain what I mean. If you look at Canelo and Crawford, Canelo has way more fights. Crawford is older. They're both around the same height. I think Canelo's like 5'9". Crawford's like 5'8". The thing about it is that Crawford has a longer reach. Crawford has a 74-inch reach. Canelo, if I'm not mistaken, he has a 70-inch reach or 71-inch reach. I was listening to Keith Thurman. He was saying that Crawford, he's not the longer fighter, but he is. I think Jamel Charlo also was the longer fighter as well. Taller fighter too. When I look at these both fighters, they're around about the same size. What do I mean by that? I mean, Canelo and Crawford weigh about the same. And Crawford probably, walks around or rehydrates back up to about 178, 179 pounds, 180 pounds. Canelo rehydrates to about that. I think the only thing that separates them in terms of fighting is that Canelo has been in the ring with much bigger, stronger guys than Crawford. Okay. At higher weight classes. Right? He took on Sergey Kovalev at 175 and Dmitry Bivol at 175. He's also fought a number of 168 pounders, from Caleb Plant to Billy Joe Saunders. These are the better of the 168s, at least. So he fought Triple G at 168 and at 160, and Triple G is a very strong, sturdy fighter. So, and then Canelo's resume dwarfs Crawford's resume in terms of Hall of Famers and in terms of great fighters that, he's fought. The other thing is, I don't think Crawford's ever faced a fighter who, not only is he that big, he's that strong, but he also is defensively responsible. So I don't see Crawford, for example, knocking out Canelo. I don't see it ever happening. But what I can see Crawford doing to Canelo is outboxing him. Now, of course, we said that about Errol Spence, and he destroyed Errol Spence. Crawford is not just an orthodox fighter. He can fight with either hand. He can defend and attack with either hand. So he does bring a lot of other dimensions to his game, and that's going to be a factor when fighting Canelo. The problem that a lot of people see, and myself see, is that Crawford has never been at those weights fighting in a pro fight against such fighters. This is more or less his problem. Crawford fought with 10-ounce gloves against the 154-pounder who was destroyed by Victor Ortiz. Crawford couldn't knock out that guy. Victor Ortiz did. So the question is, Virgil Ortiz, my bad. So the question is Crawford strong enough? Will he be big enough and strong enough, first of all, to even deal with, not Canelo's power per se, but just with the weight class in general? Canelo's well adjusted to the weight class. Now, we saw Lamont Roach Jr. go up to 135, give Tank a hell of a fight. Crawford brings a lot of those techniques and skills to the table, but so does Canelo. Canelo's not a guy, if he doesn't want to get hit by you, he's not going to get hit by you. If he wants to play boxing with you, he's going to box you. And he's very systematic with what he does. Can Crawford outbox him? The question is not if Crawford can do like Erislandy Lara and confuse Canelo and outbox him or outshoot him. The question is really about, can he win the fight against Canelo? Will Canelo get to that body? Will he be able to do the body work that he likes to do? Will Canelo be able to do the things he likes to do in that ring? Or will Crawford nullify that and take away the things Canelo likes to do in the ring from him? So there are those questions. Crawford knows how to use range and distance quite well. He likes to bang a little bit as well. So we all know what Canelo is deficient in. We know that guys who box and move give him a lot of trouble. We're really good at it. Bivol did it. Caleb Plant to a lesser extent did it. And Floyd Mayweather did it. Erislandy Lara to a lesser extent did it. So he's always kind of had difficulty with boxers who stick and move and really have nuance to what they do. They have special effects, as we say. So the real question will be, can Crawford, say, for instance, outdo Canelo on the inside? Because Canelo's a mid-range fighter. He's not an outside fighter. He's a mid-range fighter. So can Canelo get on the inside with, can Crawford get on the inside of Canelo and work him on the inside, or be deep outside the pocket with him and box him and do what he does? Because Crawford has a really good jab. So if he can box him on the outside and then set him up for something on the inside, I think he can win that fight. So, Floyd said that, Canelo can be outboxed pretty easily. I don't know about pretty easily, and that this will not be. It may look a certain way, and even if it does look that way, it's not an easy fight for Crawford in any way. It's a big challenge for him. So the fight can go the way of how Canelo versus Charlo went, or the fight can go the way of how Dimitri Bivol, or sort of a crossover between what Dimitri Bivol did and what Floyd did. I think if Crawford tries to keep Canelo off of him all the time, I think that's a losing fight. He has to mix it up. He has to be able to counter Canelo on the inside, as Floyd did, and he has to be able to also pot shot him from the outside. And if he does that, he's going to win the fight, no doubt about it. But that's easier said than done, So it is a winnable fight for Crawford. Canelo has a lot of nuance. He has a lot of skills. When he's defensive, he's defensive. When he's offensive or he's looking for the counter, he's looking for the counter or being offensive. He is a counter puncher himself. But this fight could go one of two ways. Crawford could make Canelo look really stupid, because Canelo's trying to pursue him and make a fight with him. Or Canelo could piece up Crawford and knock him out, pretty much. So that's the way that's how I think the fight would go. But I'm very interested in this fight. This is a extremely challenging fight. Not just for Crawford, because Canelo will be dealing with somebody who's much faster, much quicker. It'd be harder to cut off the ring on Crawford. So it's an interesting fight. I'm not going to lie to you. The thing that we will have to see is, does putting on the weight on Crawford help him or hinder him? You can see he's gaining weight. But I don't think he's going to be putting on weight, to be honest with you. I think it's the weight that he usually spars with and stuff. You when you go to on the scales, you're not really going in as your true weight. You're whittling yourself down to make the scales, and then you blow back up to whatever you were. So, quite frankly, that's the illusion that a lot of people don't realize. Crawford usually spars or does whatever he does at 173, 180 pounds. And I think it just means he won't have to lose as much weight, pretty much, to fight Canelo. That's what that means. And he just has to get himself a little stronger. And then he basically is going to be way healthier because he doesn't have to lose all that weight. He's going to be way healthier. So it actually might give him more strength, more power, etc. It may actually make him stronger and better. So we'll see. It's an interesting fight. Canelo being the cash cow, the modern Oscar de la Hoya, who won some, lost some, but fought everybody. It's an interesting fight. It's not David Benavidez, which we all hoped he would have faced. I had my reservations about Crawford going so high up to 168 to fight Canelo. I thought, Canelo's too big for him, But apparently Crawford doesn't think so. Thinks it's doable. And in some respects it is, in the sense of, Crawford walks around, spars at probably 170 something pounds anyway. So and Canelo stays in shape all the time. So Canelo's at 170 something pounds. Canelo's topped out pretty much in terms of gaining weight. So based on that, really Crawford and Errol, and Crawford started his career at 140. Canelo started his career at 140, and Crawford started his career at 135. So they're not that much different to each other. Crawford probably slightly smaller in size in terms of weight classes and stuff. So this is a big leap here. I'm not gonna lie. Oscar thinks it's a money grab. I don't think so at all. Crawford's not that kind of guy. He's an extremely competitive guy, and he's preparing himself for this big fight. And yeah, like I said before, this could go one of two ways. Crawford could get knocked out, which I don't think will happen because, again, Crawford's a defensive fighter. Unless he throws caution to the wind or something, I really don't see that happening. So, by and large, I think this fight will end up in a decision. Even if Canelo's beating Crawford's ass, Crawford has enough defense to shell up and know what to do so that he can make it to the final bell like Charlo did. But the thing about it is, once he can absorb Canelo's shots and power on his arms and so on, and sort of avoid the veteran tactics that Canelo will try to implement on him, he has a good shot at beating Canelo. Canelo can be outboxed. That's one thing we know. So, that's the major thing that we have to look and see what really happens in this fight with Canelo versus Crawford. But he's definitely going to be the guy with the more experience facing higher caliber opponents. He'll be the supposedly bigger guy. He will be the bigger guy. Crawford's, he's not even acclimatizing. He's just jumping up 2 divisions to face Canelo. So that's a tall order in and of itself, So we'll see. I don't know how this fight will go. I'm going to be honest with you. I have to see it to tell you. It's, I think, a very interesting fight, which is why I'm even talking about it. It feels a little bit, it's not a circus fight because fighters before in times past have done such things. They've jumped up 2 divisions and fought guys and beat them. So I'm not saying that this is impossible by any stretch of the imagination. When I saw Crawford at 154 fighting, it wasn't the same Crawford that fought Errol Spence. But he did outbox the guy. But the guy that he fought wasn't nowhere near on the level of what Canelo will bring to the table. So that's why it's not that easy a fight to predict. I really don't know people say, "Well, you don't have faith in Crawford." A lot of people think Crawford will win. Well, this is the real talk now. This is real talk. I don't know. We'll have to see. If Crawford can beat Canelo, that will be a tremendous thing in the sport of boxing, and we'll probably encourage other boxers to do the same. Try to, jump up and face the very best. Take that chance, roll that die. But if he doesn't, you know, it's gonna be a tall order for him. Uh, so this definitely will etch him into the annals of greatness. Um, two really big wins on his resume. A guy who we thought, much bigger than him, we thought would give him a good fight, and then Canelo, pound for pound, is one of the top 10 pound for pound fighters in the world at a weight class that was two weight divisions above him. It would definitely put him in the argument for, some of these great boxers of our time and so on. It'll put him up there. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. I am what you need. You guys have a good one.